Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani, and this is welcome all of you back from the Easter break. Those of you that did take one, some other Nigerians were on duty right through it. It does happen. The fire service, for example, and all television stations. None of them saw anything like Easter break because that would have been prime viewing time for us. Anyhow, here we are back to work and happy to be so. And this morning we'll be looking at the Tinubu administration, successes and challenges so far. And our guest is Hilliard Etta. Mr. Etta is a former acting national chairman of All Progressives Congress. He joins us from our Abuja studio. A fine morning to you, Hilliard Etta.
Good morning, Yuri, my brother, and happy Easter to everybody in Nigeria. Let me also use this opportunity to say happy 72nd birthday to our president in arrears.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Nice way to start off. As you know, apart from you being able to do it individually like this, the president had sent out a humble request that people should kindly let him be. That these are, not the times that one should be indulging in any kind of a celebratory activity. Of course, the president, as you know, is feeling for the nation. He's feeling for our soldiers, 17 of them that were lost, and all sorts of challenges.
Yes.
We're going to mention.
And I share in the sentiment of Mr. President.
Yeah, you said that you.
No, I share in the sentiment of Mr. President.
Exactly. That's why, for the first time in a long, long while, the whole place wasn't inundated with all sorts of ads all over the place congratulating him. Anyhow, but the point is very well taken. It is a date. It's a momentous date, and I imagine that the president will be receiving that with good grace. Now, he's been in office. It's been a mixed bag, but maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I should leave that to you to say. He came in shooting from the hips, as they say, from day one. And I guess what we want to do this morning is to take a look at 10 months of his administration, not even a year yet, but 10 months. 10 months in President Tinubu's administration, the successes and challenges so far. And maybe you'd like to start off with the successes.
Well, thank you very much, my brother Yuri. It is actually arguable whether 10 months is enough for us to do a proper analysis of the successes and challenges of any government for that matter. But be that as it may, we have a situation where we always must report back to Nigerians how we see this government. As you said, he came shooting from the hips, and he had promised us that he was going to hit the ground running. So he started by removing the fuel subsidy that had put Nigeria down for a very long while, and it took the courage of Mr. President to do that. He also attended to the foreign exchange regime that was destabilized by numerous flat lines. But that is not, one would have thought that is just what he had done in the past 10 months. But you'll be surprised that a lot has been done. Number one, we have what we call the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund that Mr. President has established for the funding of the many ideas of the youth of Nigeria. In fact, coming from last year's budget to this year's budget, we have up to about 50 billion naira put aside for the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund. Now you also because he he is very focused on the youth of Nigeria, knowing, for instance, that the youths constitute about 65% of the population of Nigeria. He has also, we are at the finishing stage of bringing to the Nigerian public and to the Nigerian state the first of its kind, the Nigerian Students' Loan Fund.
That's right.
I think right now it is in the National Assembly, and that law will be made available by the time the lawmakers come back from the Easter break. I think very soon, in the next few months, that law will be made available so that whether you are economically capable or not, you are able to go to school through this access to funds that he has done for the Nigerian youths. When it comes to infrastructural development, you are aware of the landmark Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road that is going to announce Nigeria to the world. Not just that the president had announced this project, you'd be glad to know that this project has commenced. The execution of this project has commenced. We also have the president had promised while campaigning that he was going to bring the credit scheme into the Nigerian economic space, where you are able to get credit to do what you need to do in your life and pay as you can. This is a scheme that is almost coming to fruition. You are also aware that Mr. President has sent a bill to the National Assembly increasing the salary and the emoluments to judicial officers in Nigeria. And a lot of Nigerians have been complaining about the way that the judiciary had been undermined over the years. One of the ways to tackle this is to properly compensate, properly pay the judicial officers as we have them in Nigeria today. And the president has taken the challenge of dealing with that issue. You're also aware of there are so many things that the president has done.
Indeed.
In 10 months.
Indeed.
We also, yes, there are so many things that he has done in 10 months.
I beg your pardon, sir. Let me come in here. Indeed, you are right. There's so many initiatives he's put on the ground. You've enumerated some of the big ones. He's on a sort of a reformist agenda in most places where it is crucially needed. Also, look, the president doesn't seem to do things by half measures at all. Remember that he also had set his eye on growing the Nigeria economy to a trillion naira economy. Remember? And that in itself is not a mean feat. In fact, he re-echoed this when he was speaking to security chiefs in January upon the unfortunate, shall I say, friendly fire, misdirected fire that happened, when he was saying that, look, we had to really lower incidents of that while commending them for the great job that they're doing. But that was when he had brought the matter out that, look, if we're not careful, and he intends to be as careful as can be, that trillion naira economy in 2024 might not be achievable. So one thing is that he has a very bold vision, and he is not tepid, and not tepid in pursuing them.
Yes. And let me say that most of these bold initiatives and his vision, of course, will come with challenges. We are not unaware of the challenges that these things have brought to the average Nigerian. But you see, most of these policies have a gestation period. And if we can give Mr. President a little bit of our time, a little bit of patience, when these policies come into fruition, just like we have seen the dollar, the naira begin to gain against the dollar, most of these policies, when they come into fruition, will bring benefits to Nigeria.
Indeed.
We do know this. So we all asking that, look, things are difficult now, but we need to go past through this phase to be able to arrive at a place where we can have the kind of Nigeria that we need. There are other challenges. There are other things that some of us who are in the progressive school of thought would have thought that the president would do at this time. And we will not shy away from asking Mr. President to also look at these areas, because progressive development must come holistically. And one of the areas that we would like the president to look into is the interest rate as we have it today, and the banks and the way the banks conduct their business in Nigeria. Mr. President must look into the banking sector and also bring down the interest rate. If you look at Nigeria's economy is at the level of the BRICS nations. Now, if you look at the BRICS nations, and I believe that Nigeria should belong to the BRICS nations. Now, if you look at the BRICS nations, the highest interest rate of any BRIC nation is about 9%. The lowest is about 2%. I think that is India. India has about 2% interest rate. So, and it is, the last time I said this, someone called me an illiterate, that I do not understand what I am saying, because to increase interest rate is to be used as a regulatory framework to bring down inflation. This is the position of certain people. But I do know that the Nigerian economy is generally informal. The informal sector of the Nigerian economy is so much in terms of its size that you cannot use the MPR, only the MPR, to determine the level of inflation. I'd like to say that interest rate has to come down to a single digit regime, and the banking sector must be made to become a partner with government in terms of the access to funds that these young people that I said before constitute about 65% of our population must have to be able to fund their ideas and their dreams. Another area that Mr. President must look at, and we are begging Mr. President to look at, is that for any nation to be great, you must protect your economy. In 1947, I will give you an example, Mr. Yori. In 1947, India was a single nation with Pakistan. On the day they were given independence, Pakistan went its own way and India went its own way. And the Indian government decided that they were going to close their economy and make sure that whatever the Indians need must be produced by Indians. And now they did that for over 40 years. Their economy was opened to the entire world when they had satisfied themselves that they were able to compete with the outside world. That is when they opened their economy to competition. We cannot compete. Just imagine the level of power that we have here, put aside with the kind of level of power that is available in China, and you're asking our industrialists to compete. It is not possible. We cannot compete. So the question is, are we going to close our economy, make sure that whatever Nigerians need must be produced here in our country, and make sure that we imbibe innovation in such a way that in no distant future we are able to compete with the rest of the world? At that time, we can open our economy.
Right.
You know, when General Babangida opened our economy in the 80s, Nigeria, the industrial production level of Nigeria was getting close to that of the Asian tigers. Today, it is, in fact, most of our young people who are young people today in Nigeria, are not even aware that there was a time that Nigeria was a leader in terms of tire production, battery production, ceramic production. We can go ahead. In fact, we had over 100 breweries scattered over the country. All of these things are gone because of the kind of policies that has brought us here. So there need to be a reversal of those policies to look at only Nigeria. We must concentrate on Nigeria.
All right. You know, another thing about Mr. President is that even before he came into office, if you remember his birthday colloquiums through the years, he's always been very particular about human capital development. He doesn't play, as it were,
Yes.
with human capital and bettering the life of most Nigerians. Now, you've been speaking about things that need to be done, and these things will affect the people. So there's always a political aspect to this. Now, the question I want to put to you now, for your personal opinion on, is that to what extent do you think people, that is the citizenry, appreciate and understand what is going on in the Tinubu administration? I say this against the backdrop of our own Akinwumi Adesina, president of the African Development Bank, was saying just a few months ago that Tinubu needs Nigerian support to face economic challenges. And then he ended it with, his success will be our success. What is your attitude or your thinking or your perception of the current state? Because Nigerians, Mr. President has taken it on boldly by saying that, fellow Nigerians, I know you're hurting. I know. It doesn't please me, but hang on just a little bit more. What's your read of how well people are taking this message, especially against the sort of successes that have begun to gradually appear?
Well, you have to take into consideration where we are coming from. To be very candid, there is no love lost between Nigerians and the government, not Tinubu government. And this has been because of the failed promises of the past. So it becomes very difficult for you to ask Nigerians to immediately support the government, immediately believe a government, because they had done so in the past and they had been disappointed. Now, but what will happen is that, and I'm going to, it's going to happen very soon. You have seen the foreign exchange regime. And Nigerians are beginning to appreciate that what the president had told them before is happening now. So one thing that I know is that as these policies mature, Nigerians are going to see the benefits and the consequences of these policies. Now, it is going to be extremely difficult for you to tell Nigerians now, believe us because what we are saying is true. They will call back at other governments that had told them so and did not deliver. But because some of us know that this particular president is going to deliver, not just that, we know, we have seen him do it before. Because I keep telling people you cannot give what you do not have. We have seen him do it before, and so we know that he's going to do it. But without all what we ask is a little bit of patience, a little bit of understanding. For those who understand what the president is doing, you can hear them. The Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Dr. Adesina, you can hear them. The bound sides are positive. Their sound bites are positive. And we need most of these people who understand the issues to continue to speak to Nigerians and ask them for a little bit of patience. These things are going to be done, and the benefits will accrue to Nigerians in no distant future.
In fact, look, it's undeniable. His leadership has been inspiring. He himself, I think one of the more popular expressions of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is that failure is not an option in the task that he has set himself. As I said, bold speeches, bold actions, bold initiatives, and that failure is not an option. This is a determined person. So it probably is now left to those in the media, even within the presidency itself, to put out as much as possible the nature of the successes and indeed the challenges, and how the ordinary Nigerian needs to own the difficult job that is being done, just because of what you said.
Yes.
That, look, it's going to become better, but we have to, for the moment, have this tightened belt. I don't want to use any other expression, because you said it. Failed promises.
Yes.
Failed promises in the past.
People have become skeptical. My brother, let me also say this. You have seen the naira firm up against the dollar. Now, Nigerians were complaining that naira was spiraling out of control. Now it has been controlled. It is now gaining against the dollar. You now ask yourself, why is it that consumer goods that became so expensive on the account of the spiraling of the naira has refused to come down in terms of prices? This, again, we must know that it is us harming ourselves. Because you see, a lot of these people who are in the trade industry or the trade sector have refused to bring down the prices of their goods out of greed, because there is no other way to describe it. Now, we are only appealing to them. Now that the naira is firming up, please, ladies and gentlemen who are in the, especially in the consumer goods sector, please bring down the cost of your goods with regards the current foreign exchange regime.
Indeed.
Mr. Yori, yes, we need to appeal to ourselves, because we are doing harm to ourselves.
Let me give you
to ourselves.
Let me give you an example of that, and something that we can. Airpeace, as you know, over the weekend started off its flight into the UK, a very, very lucrative market. It had not been possible for a long time for so many different reasons, as the chief executive has been explaining, but he stood by it. Now, today, airfare into the UK has come down to a very a comfortable rate. And, it was explained, of course, the government has also aided. I saw the Minister of Trade there. The government has also aided the success of this particular endeavor. Now, when airlines were charging millions and millions and millions of naira, in their tens of millions of naira, Airpeace going into the UK, the chief executive was explaining that he could have stopped at something like, comparing himself with other airlines, he could have stopped at whatever it was, 3 or 4 million, and because it would have been less than what the other competition was charging, it would have been seen as if he was doing something. But no, until he brought the economy down to something like 1.4 million naira for Nigerians, and this is a lack of greed, and this is following in what you've just been speaking about, that look, when conditions get better, reflect it in the marketplace.
Yes.
And this is the kind of thing.
My brother, let me use this opportunity to appreciate and thank Mr. Allen, the owner of Airpeace, for what he's done. Not only has he brought pride to our national psyche,
indeed,
I think he has done well. Yes, he has done well in actually dealing with the suffering of Nigerians who have business between Nigeria and the UK. I want to thank him very immensely, and I want to encourage other Nigerians
to affect the market.
From
remember.
Yes,
It has become
he should take a cue from Mr. Allen and do exactly what he has done with the advent of airpeace to London. Other people should take a cue. I will not fail to also thank the producers of Indomie. So some of us who have either children or grandchildren in school, we know what Indomie was a few weeks ago, and today it has come down. It has come down. I want to also thank the producers of the Indomie. So this should go down. It should go down the entire structure of the consumer goods sector of Nigeria.
Indeed. Let me bring on Mazi Okorafor, who has called in and is holding on. Good morning to you, Mazi Okorafor.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, I guess.
Okay.
Happy Saturday, all Nigerians, everybody. So, first of all, it is good for us when something happens good. We also thank the people. When something happens bad, we see comment. The owner of that APs, we thank him at least. When Nigerians were stranded at Niger and Sudan, and at least he tried. At least the man, Onyema, APs man, may God bless you and others. At least you have tried. Now, you see, Tinubu regime and the Mefele, the airline have been complaining about their money in central bank. Now, you know what it means. For you, as a businessman, you are doing your business, your money is being stuck somewhere. Collect, you will not collect. Release, you will not release. And you have to maintain your airline. So, now, what are we saying now? Now, the federal government said, the airline said they will balance everything. Well, we pray. But the question now is that the jet air for oil that they use, you see, these are what the clause they normally tell us. That is, aviation fuel is always their major problem. Now, if aviation fuel will come back, and now is it not wise for the government to give those airline owners give an opportunity, let them import their own jet oil? It will help us because they have been clamoring for it, and the government says no, they must follow the normal process of NMPs. It is not good.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
They said they have the resources. Allow them to import their own jet water. But it is very, very disheartening that from Port Harcourt to Lagos, or from Lagos or from Abuja from air ticket to around 100 or something, it doesn't make sense. That's honestly.
Indeed. Well,
a journey of a journey of 1 hour or 1 hour 10 minutes or 1 hour or 50 something minutes. They are collecting 100 or something.
Well,
paying it.
Indeed.
He's not enjoying it.
Mazi, I've got to come in now because I have to go on a break. But Mazi Okorafor calling in from Arochukwu, thank you very much.